Hi, Richard. Welcome back for another edition of Ask Richard. I'm happy to be here with you. Today, we have a question that came in from somebody named Philip. And Philip asks, do we attract negative life experiences to heal from our trauma?
I would say the answer to that is unquestionably yes. And it is very profound. Now, off the top of my head or anybody, to say to somebody if they've just had a tragic experience, well, you created that, that's using responsibility as a club. It's extremely irresponsible. But when the person's ready and says, all right, I've had this, I've hurt that same leg 3 times now, and in 2 different car accidents, and what the heck's going on here? Well, now we can figure it out. And I've developed a system over 30 years called self-created health that teaches people how to find the emotional causes. And what you see is unprocessed hurt, anger, shame, and guilt will express itself as bodily conditions, health issues, as relationship problems, or even financial problems. And they are not random. They are so concise that you have to wonder, how could the psychological profession ignore something so obvious? It's like, a huge elephant in a small room. How could you miss this? It's completely obvious, because every emotion you feel as a result of having the condition is a perfect mirror of emotions you didn't want to feel that caused the condition. And we have a concise way of discerning exactly what that set of emotions was, and a whole series of steps to process and release those emotions. And when they're all processed and released, and the person has gone through the self-forgiveness process that comes along with it, not only do the symptoms disappear, but a person may feel unfathomably grateful for having attracted the condition. Now, it's great intuition to say, yeah, maybe my unfinished emotions are expressing themselves as this health condition or injury or whatever it is. And you're right, it does. But without a map, just looking at it from the outside, it isn't obvious. Even I've had conditions where I had to actually ask myself all the questions we use to figure out emotional conditions, to figure out why, like in one case, my back was hurting so much. And it wasn't because of the obvious answers that I was feeling emotionally unsupported or that I was feeling financially challenged. It happened to be in that case that I was supporting somebody who should have been able to help himself. And I was doing it because I had a choice of allowing him to go homeless or to care for him. But I was resenting it because he should have been able to take, and I was having back pain because I was resentful. And so sometimes the answer isn't obvious, but by asking these very specific questions that I've developed over years, we can find hidden emotional causes behind these conditions.
Great. Thank you, Richard. I've taken the self-created health workshop, and I think it's probably one of my favorites. The process that you're talking about with the questions, it's so specific and targeted and efficient. So you really don't feel like you're just going and digging around in the past or stirring things up. It really gets to the point. And for me, it's life-changing. I think about that method often in my life. And if ever I have things that come up, then I'm able to identify where the root cause very, very quickly. So thank you so much, Richard. And thank you to Philip for your question as well.